Steps. Great strides begin with small steps. And the first steps of this important initiative begin with you. Hello, and welcome to the Steps Initiative Trainer presentation. The Office of Great Start has launched the STEPS initiative to increase family awareness of the importance of early development and education for kids ages birth to 3. We need your help to make it a success. You may want to have other materials handy as we go through this presentation. Those materials might include infographics from the Family Toolkit, as well as the training guide from the Trainer Toolkit. Additionally, at certain points in this presentation, there are suggested activities. You may want to pause the presentation so you can complete those activities while the instructions and information are fresh in your mind. You are the first step in making this initiative work. We need key people like you to be the educators who train the trusted advisors. We'll explain who those trusted advisors are in just a minute. But we will need you to show them how to effectively inform families about the importance of early learning for ages birth to 3. With the STEPS initiative, we will educate trusted advisors on how to inform families, share with families the importance of early learning, help families understand their role in early learning, and help families understand the role that they and early childhood providers play in the development of their children. For this training specifically, there are multiple purposes. Some of them include explaining why initiative matters to Michigan families, explaining the process the initiative will use to reach those families, defining the roles of participants in the initiative, learning where to turn with questions. We'll help you identify the families most in need of STEPS information and identify the potential trusted advisors who are more likely to reach those families. We'll help create a common set of terms you and your trusted advisors can use when engaging families. Also, the purpose of this training is to help you plan your outreach to those potential trusted advisors, including what to say to encourage them to join the initiative and figuring out when is the right time to engage potential advisors. Finally, we'll educate you on how to evaluate the impact of the initiative. Let's discuss how to make the case for the STEPS initiative. Why does increasing awareness among families about the importance of early childhood development matter? Chances are, if you're watching this presentation, you already have an answer in your mind. But we'll help you refine and clarify some of that so you're easily able to share that message with trusted advisors, who in turn can share that message with families who need to hear it. Why should this matter to you? Well, we know that when expecting parents and children ages birth to 5 receive quality early childhood programs and services, they are more likely to be born healthy, more likely to be healthy, thriving, and developmentally on track from birth through 3rd grade, more likely to be developmentally ready to succeed at the time they enter school, more likely to have a reading proficiency at the end of 3rd grade that prepares them to succeed in 4th grade and beyond. These are also the goals of the Office of Great Start in Michigan. Specifically, how will you reach families as a trainer? You have access to all of the toolkits. The one that's designed specifically for you, the one that's designed for trusted advisors, and the one that's intended for families. And you can use all of these materials as you work on making the case. The Family Toolkit in particular contains helpful information about the importance of early development in children ages birth to 3. The Trusted Advisor Toolkit contains suggestions on how to reach families, and then forms we'll request them to share feedback on. Simply put, the roles defined in the STEPS initiative are as follows. Trainers, that's you, will help guide trusted advisors who will work directly with the families. Trusted advisors, in turn, are charged with reaching families, sharing important information, and reporting back on what they learn. You might be wondering, who specifically are the trainers and trusted advisors? Trainers are people in your Great Start Collaborative and parent coalitions who are able to identify and recruit trusted advisors. They must be willing to take the time to train trusted advisors and make sure they have all the information they need for families. and you need to help track the number of trusted advisors in the region. Trusted advisors can be anyone in the community, but they must share these 4 specific characteristics. They can meet families where they are, which might be in healthcare settings, childcare settings, religious centers, or any other place where families tend to visit regularly. They are individuals who are already trusted by families in their community to share information. They are already interacting with families in various settings. They are willing to share this important information with families, and then are willing to report back to you their experiences and what they learned from sharing information and materials with families. This infographics shows the 4 steps needed to succeed as a trainer. The steps are: 1. Identifying the families that you want to reach. This will be unique to each region. Every set of families will have unique characteristics, and only you and those in your region know specifically what those characteristics are. 2. Once you know the families you want to reach, you can identify the people who are most likely to be the trusted advisors who can reach those families. You'll need to talk to those advisors and bring them into the STEPS initiative by sharing your rationale on why this is important, as well as sharing the materials that are in the Trusted Advisor and Family Toolkits. 3. Once you've recruited some trusted advisors, you'll need to support them, giving them regular check-ins to help keep them engaged and see how the process is working. Help them troubleshoot or answer questions they might have, maybe even finding a way to get all your trusted advisors together and share best practices. All of this will keep everyone engaged and the momentum moving forward. And 4. We ask you to share your successes and concerns back with us. Your information will help us improve the next round of the STEPS initiative. Here are the materials you will receive as part of this initiative. You've already seen and are using the Trainer Toolkit, which includes the Trainer Resources Sheet, the Best Teacher video, which you can find in the online version, the STEPS Training Guide to use with this presentation, which hopefully you have in front of you now, and some evaluation sheets we'll ask you to send back. You also have access to the Trusted Advisor Toolkit, which provides suggestions on how to reach and engage families. These include items like sample blog posts, social media recommendations, emails to send to the families we are trying to reach that coincide with age-based development milestones of their children. There are also evaluation forms we would like the advisors to fill out. And then there's the Family Toolkit, which contains materials to be shared directly with the families. They include information about the various ways families can help their children develop and grow, including some infographics, milestone checklists, a parent brochure, and more. Now, let's go through the work of identifying families and trusted advisors. When it comes to the families, who specifically are you trying to reach? Who are those hard-to-reach families in your region? We suggest you use existing data to identify the families you want to reach. There are probably existing resources available, such as your earlier Trusted Advisor grant applications that can help you identify families who need to know this information. There are likely other sources of information that could be used to identify these families, but they may be housed at other organizations or agencies. Don't be afraid to ask for data you need from others in your region. Everyone is working together towards the same goal. Now might be a good time to pause this video and use the questions on pages 2 and 3 of the training guide to guide you in this process. By answering those questions, you will hone in on the information you need to identify the families. Once you know who your families are, you can start identifying the people and organizations to whom those families would turn for information. Those people should be the trusted advisors you are seeking to join this initiative. To identify those specific trusted advisors, you'll need to ask a few questions. Who might already be a trusted advisor in your region? Who is already invested in early childhood and early learning? Great Start collaborative memberships and partners are the perfect place to start. What other people in organizations are talking about early childhood development in any way? These might also go on your initial list for discussion. Do those invested in childhood development also work with your hard-to-reach families? If that is the case, they are an ideal candidate to be a trusted advisor. They already are invested in solving these concerns. Feel free to ask them to join the initiative. Finally, is there someone whose support is absolutely critical to success as you think about those in your region? Are there one or two individuals without whom you know this will not succeed? If so, you may need to bring them in early to understand the work. They may in turn have suggestions about other potential trusted advisors you don't know. In your training guide on pages 11 and 12, we've given you a list of organizations that will help give you a jump start on where you might find trusted advisors. You can use the network mapping tool, which is on pages 3 through 6 of your training guide, to specifically identify the people who would be successful trusted advisors. This is a brainstorming exercise. Do the best you can with whatever information is in front of you, and know that at various points in time, other names may pop in your head that you'll want to add to this list. Think of it as a running list and jot down ideas as they come to you. Be as specific as you can, but don't worry about getting every name right on the first try. One helpful hint others have used on this exercise is to scroll through their phone contacts list. Sometimes that helps jog your memory of people who might not normally come to mind, but who should be included in part of your initial outreach. Feel free to pause the presentation now to go through this exercise. Now that you've identified the families and your potential trusted advisors, let's plan your outreach. The how, what, and when of reaching those trusted advisors. First, let's talk about the how. Use your existing connections to foster relationships. We've talked about completing the network mapping exercise. Now you may need to consider the best method of how to reach those folks listed in your exercise. Face-to-face conversations are always best so that you can gauge not just what they're saying, but how they're saying it and their body language. And they can be informal. Meeting at a coffee shop is a great way to have this discussion. If you're unable to meet face-to-face, and many of us are, phone calls are perfectly acceptable. Another thing to consider is a video conference, if you're comfortable and have that sort of relationship with the individual. As much as possible, try to avoid using email other than for scheduling and follow-up. It's hard to convey the appropriate tone over email. Because this is a first outreach and a new program, you want to be able to engage in the back and forth of the conversation to start. Finally, consider the culture of your region. Would your potential trusted advisors respond well to a group meeting? If so, schedule one so that you can reach many folks at once. But make sure you come prepared with the materials for everyone, explaining the proposal and follow-up with everyone individually. To help you choose your best method of the meeting, there's a chart on your training guide that will help explain which one might be the right way to go depending on the factors involved. When you reach out to the trusted advisors, what do you say? How do you bring them into the initiative? You'll need to explain what STEPS is and who it is intended to reach. You can use the information on the first few pages of this presentation or within any of the toolkits to do so. Here's another exercise we'd like you to do. Take a minute to look through all the STEPS materials and toolkits. Now, in your own words, explain what STEPS is and why it's important to the families in your region. For example, someone might say, STEPS is an initiative to reach families and children ages birth to 3 years old and share information about how important those years are to overall health, education, and long-term success. How do you bring your trusted advisors into the STEPS initiative? Again, explain why this is important using the STEPS toolkit items and your local research and data to do so. You'll need to explain to them what the benefit of being a trusted advisor is. Help them see how easily sharing the materials in the family toolkit can be integrated into the work they're already doing. Showing them the Family Toolkit is a great way to spark conversation about how to get families to open up about their concerns. And that may lead to a better understanding on the part of the trusted advisor as a way to get what it is that families in the region truly need. It's not meant to be handed over to families and the conversation ends there. This is meant to grow an ongoing and deepening relationship between the families and trusted advisors. That may also appeal to the trusted advisor who may be seeking a way to further those relationships. Finally, you'll want to make sure you are clear about what you're asking the trusted advisors to do. Reassure them that the STEPS initiative is not intended to supplant the work they're already doing, but to complement and allow for those deeper connections with the families in their region. To prepare you for these conversations, we suggest you use the Refining Your Message questions on pages 8 and 9 in your training guide to help refine the message you want to share with potential trusted advisors. Go ahead and pause the presentation here so you can answer those questions now, while this information is fresh in your mind. Now, let's discuss when it's appropriate to reach out to your potential trusted advisors. Because the timing of your request will have an impact on your success, you'll need to consider what else is occurring regionally. Are there still any scheduled fairs or festivals coming up where families will gather? Is there a major campaign or initiative that is already taking up the bandwidth of your preferred trusted advisors? If so, you may need to be creative and consider other choices. We know people only have so much time in the day, and while we all understand the importance of early learning, we also want to make sure that those who join are committed, have the time, and are willing and able to help the initiative succeed. Finally, when you reach out to your trusted advisors, make sure that they understand that you understand all the demands on their time, but you think this initiative is worthy of their time, and that you will be there to support them. People are always hesitant to join something new, but the more you are able to encourage and share with them that you'll be there to support them with the resources to answer their questions, the more likely they will be to join you. For this exercise, we encourage you to review the sample timeline on page 10 of your training guide. It will give you some idea of where to start. Your best chance at success is to make your own timeline based on the knowledge of your region and do your best to stick to it. We know there are always last-minute items that come up, but by creating your own timeline, it will allow you to stay on track and give yourself some accountability to make sure you're recruiting the appropriate number of trusted advisors for your region. Finally, we want to reinforce the materials that you'll be giving to your trusted advisors. You will share with them the Trusted Advisor Toolkit, which includes the overview letter, brand standards, the social media strategy document and content calendar, some sample blog content, emails to remind parents of milestone ages, an initial checklist, and the quarterly reporting sheets we want them to fill out in return. You'll also need to make sure they have access to the Family Toolkit so that they can share it with the families they work with. The Family Toolkit includes multiple infographics, a school readiness pamphlet, a series of milestone ages checklist, an early learning and development brochure, and a parent brochure that helps outline the importance of STEPS and the importance of early learning. We would encourage you and your trusted advisors to be familiar with all the parts of the Family Toolkit and have a few on hand to share with families. Feel free to pull out your favorite piece to share with the trusted advisors, and in turn, request they do the same when sharing the information with their families. And to wrap things up, let's talk about the evaluation of the STEPS initiative. You may be wondering why we're tracking outcomes. As a new initiative, STEPS needs to be tested to ensure the message and methods resonate with families. The initiative is going to roll out in stages, so information gathered from your work and your trusted advisors will improve future efforts in your region and other regions to come. The forms included in these kits are designed to keep it simple for you and your trusted advisors. We don't want this to take a long time for you or them to fill out, but we do need to receive some critical information. There's an initial checklist for trusted advisors to fill out when they join the effort. They should return it to you so you have a copy of their commitment. Then there are quarterly reports for you that will contain information about the success of engaging trusted advisors, and also for trusted advisors to contain information about their successes with reaching families. Hopefully, at this point, you see how the work that you do training trusted advisors gives them the tools they need to be confident connecting with those hard to reach families in their region. We know that there will be questions from both you and your trusted advisors. When those occur, please contact Tony Mallett, the Family Engagement Specialist in the Office of Great Start. Her email is listed here, malletta1@michigan.gov. Thank you so much for your time and attention to this today. We wish you great success in the STEPS initiative.